What's up, YouTube? So before we get started with this video, on First Take, they're going to be talking about LeBron James, and is he on the clock to win a championship now that he's teammates with Anthony Davis? So let's see what they have to say about that.
What are the expectations for LeBron in LA now that he has Anthony Davis?
Well, I think the expectation is for him to deliver a championship. One of the things that I repeatedly have reminded people of is that, you know, with the exception of Elgin Baylor, in 1972, I believe, I think he retired just a few games into that season that they had actually won a championship. With the exception of the great Elgin Baylor, every single marquee name that has ever worn the purple and gold, Lakers, has delivered a championship. Back from the days of George Mikan, to Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West, to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, James Worthy, to Shaq and Kobe, to Kobe himself without Shaq. Every single marquee who has ever worn the purple and gold has delivered a championship. And one of the
Exactly, Stephen A. Smith. And you best believe that ever since the second LeBron James signed that dotted line to become a Los Angeles Laker, that clock has been ticking for him to win a championship. Now, he may have had a little bit of leeway for his first year so he can get acclimated to the system and or get players to build around him so he can build up a championship team. But you best believe the clock has been ticking for LeBron James to win a championship the second he signed on. And especially now, he's in his second year, and he had such a terrible, bad first year, even though he was hurt. And, you know, they didn't make the playoffs. So you best believe the clock is ticking, and the clock is ticking a little bit more louder right now, especially now that he has Anthony Davis. So there should be no excuses. We better at least make the playoffs. At least make the playoffs. So you best believe the clock is still ticking for LeBron James and making it to the championship. So let's continue.
The things that I've repeatedly stated that annoyed the hell out of LeBron James camp, but it was absolutely true. Yes, these weren't basketball people. These were Hollywood people. But they had a real issue with a lot of the stuff that LeBron was doing off the court in terms of, you know, his ventures and what have you, because their mentality was, we want to make sure we don't have any problems with him being successful in Hollywood. But you're a Laker, baby. The first order of business is the chip. That was their mentality.
Exactly, Stephen A. Smith. You came to LA to be a Laker. So you are a Laker first. There's none of this 1 foot on a basketball court and 1 foot in Hollywood. That's not what you're here for. You're here to win a championship. That's what everybody, that's your first priority, is to win a championship. And that's the way have all these directors and producers and all these guys wondering, what's LeBron James doing? Is he all about basketball? Or is he trying to do Hollywood, or trying to do what? Because those producers, directors, everybody in Hollywood, they love the Lakers too. And if they see that you screwed over the Lakers, you weren't going as hard as you should have been going, once you retire, don't even think about coming to Hollywood, because those producers, those directors, everybody in Hollywood will remember what you did to the Lakers, and you might get ran out of Hollywood. You might not get the parts that you want. You might not get into the movies that you want, and you just might get blackballed in Hollywood if you don't take care of business with the Lakers, because that's your primary reason why you came here. So let's keep going.
And right or wrong, that's how judgmental they were. And so those are the kind of people that from time to time, Jeannie Buss hears, and members of the Lakers organization hears. And who knows how that could influence their attitudes, if not their behavior. So having Anthony Davis goes a long way, because it reminds Laker Nation that the focus is indeed on the chip, that the Lakers don't stand still. And even though after missing the playoffs a grand total of 5 times from 1948, when they were in Minneapolis, to 2013, before missing the last 6 consecutive playoff postseasons, the bottom line is they have put everybody on notice. We understand what the goal is here. We have not deviated from that process, and they went out and did what they had to do, which was get Anthony Davis.
LeBron is on the clock now. He has 3 seasons to get a chip. The expectations are, with AD, he's got to win at least a title, and I think they will. I do not expect them to win a title this upcoming season. They had to strip it all down to get AD. They're going to have to build it back up. That takes about a year. Forget, not even about learning to play with each other. They'll be fine. They just need bodies who can really play, and it's going to take this year and then, this next off season after this one to get there.
So I agree with Max. It is going to take some time, probably a year, but they're really going to have to play the cards correctly because they have a year because the Golden State Warriors are going to be down and out because Kevin Durant's going to be rehabbing and Klay Thompson is probably going to be rehabbing too. So the championship is kind of up in the air for whoever wants to grab it. Kind of like when Michael Jordan retired for 2 years, it was a scramble to see who's going to step up next in line. And it's the same thing with the Golden State Warriors out and hurt for a year. So, this is the best opportunity, I think, that LeBron James is probably going to have to make a strong push. Even though he still needs to get more, he probably needs to get some players in a backcourt. He needs a 1 or 2 player. He needs some shooters. He needs more pieces to his team. But I think this would be the best opportunity to have while Golden State's out. And we don't know what Kawhi Leonard, where he's going to be at. You don't know who he's going to be playing for. So I think it's really up in the air. And this will probably be the Lakers' best opportunity without having some serious contenders out there like the Golden State Warriors to really give them competition. Even though, Anthony Davis, LeBron James have never played with each other. They need to gel. They need to get team chemistry together. But they're really going to need to put the foot on the gas pedal to get that going because, within a year, the Golden State Warriors could be back if they have that same core team. So, I don't know. Let's keep going.
Then they have 2 years to get it done, and I think they'll do it. But that's the expectations. You got to get a chip. Stephen A., to your point about every marquee who ever got to L.A. has delivered a chip except Elgin Baylor. In fact, the reason Dwight Howard is not remembered as the powerhouse player he was in the Eastern Conference, let's not forget, he took a team as the only star on that team to the finals. He was a huge powerhouse in the East for the better part of a decade. The reason that is because when he got to L.A., he didn't get anything done.
Exactly. What happened was Dwight Howard came to L.A. and he showed how soft he was and how he couldn't handle the big time. He couldn't handle playing for the Lakers Showtime. He couldn't handle it. And Kobe Bryant had no problem expressing to him in a few choice words how soft he was. And Dwight Howard didn't seem bothered by it. He just seemed to laugh it up. He thought it was funny. But, that's why I didn't even consider Dwight Howard a Laker. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why First Take. Can't you guys change up the highlight reel that you show? You guys show the same highlight reel of LeBron James doing the same thing over and over and over. How hard is it to change it? How hard is it? It's the same B-roll film every single time. I mean, if need be, you guys can show some practice highlights. But you guys share the same highlight over and over and over of LeBron James doing the same darn thing. So, I don't know. Let's keep going.
I mean, we don't even think, and therefore we don't even think about Dwight Howard as a marquee guy. There was a time where it was unclear he's a top, there were many years Dwight Howard was a top 5 player in the NBA. Many years. He was a perennial MVP candidate. Had he gone to the Lakers, he had to stay healthy. He had to do certain things. But had he won a chip with the Lakers, then he would be remembered differently. The fact that he didn't takes him off of that marquee level that you're talking about. AD, I'm saying, has a chance to replace Tim Duncan one day as the greatest power forward who ever lived. He ain't going to do it without it.
Whoa, Max. Be careful when you talk about Tim Duncan, right? Because Tim Duncan is a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. He's got 5 rings, okay? So let's be careful when you try to put AD on the same level as Tim Duncan, okay? Like I said, Tim Duncan's got 5 rings for a reason, and he has some wars. He went to battle with the Lakers a few times that he stole a few rings from Kobe, all right? So Tim Duncan is a legend. I would not put Anthony Davis' name up there with Tim Duncan until Anthony Davis can at least make it to the finals. At least win 1 or 2 rings before you start putting him in the same light as Tim Duncan. I mean, come on, Tim Duncan and Anthony Davis haven't even been to the finals. Man, you got a long way to go. And Max, you're really starting to show yourself that you're just a casual fan, putting Anthony Davis in the same lights of Tim Duncan. Now let's keep going.
Chip, and he's got a shot in the next 3 years right now. Get at least 1.
Well, any team or any franchise that LeBron James is associated with, at that point in time, the expectation is championship or bust. And right now, there's no difference. And that's the mindset that he has going into every season is that, you know what, I'm trying to put my teammates in this organization in the best possible position to win a championship. Now with AD, you have another guy that's top 5 caliber talent and player in the NBA. And it's going to make it very, very, very interesting for that organization, that front office, to get the necessary pieces around those 2 guys to make it a legitimate chance for them to win it all this year.
you see guys, they play the same highlight reel over and over, even in the same segment. But anyways, forget about that. So as far as LeBron James, Anthony Davis, I think they can make a strong push to make it to the championship within the time of LeBron James' contract with 3 years. But I do think they need to work on their backcourt. They need to get some snipers. I think if they can get that figured out, they'll have enough players to go ahead and cover the whole court and be able to be dangerous all over the court from all angles. They just need to work on that backcourt, get some snipers up there, and I think the Lakers can definitely make a strong push, a very strong push to get to the championship this year, especially while the Golden State Warriors are out, and if not, the year after that, when they've accumulated more players. So, I don't know. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
I think this year is their best chance. I think this year is their best chance. Listen, with KD and Clay down, with Houston being in flux, Daryl Morey, the general manager, went on Golic and Wingo this morning, essentially acknowledging that, things will be fine, but you do have guys that are butting heads. When you have that kind of stuff going on, and you don't have anybody else definitively to point to in the Western Conference. We can look at Denver all we want to, but they're a relatively young team. They took major steps forward this year, and they deserve credit for that, but they haven't arrived yet. And so when you look at all of those different things that have transpired, and then you imagine Kawhi Leonard potentially leaving the Eastern Conference, so that would be up in flux. I think the Lakers' best chance at winning a championship is now.
No, I think when you consider what the Clippers have, if they get Kawhi, I think that's out the window, but time will tell. When you have a guy as great as LeBron, even in decline, he's still better than most. AD has a chance to be the best player in the game in any year. Any given year, if he has a great season, he could be the best player in basketball. And LeBron has already been there for many, many years.
But wait a minute, Max. Weren't you just talking about today in the same segment about how Kawhi Leonard is the best player and has been the best player, and next year, no matter where he goes in the East or Western Conference, he's going to be the best player? All of a sudden now, AD has the potential to be the best player and is probably the best player along with LeBron James. So which one is it? Who's the best player in your mind? Because 3 weeks ago, Giannis was the best player for the Bucks. He was the best player in the league. Then he loses. Then it jumps on to being Kawhi Leonard, the best player in the league. Now Anthony Davis has a chance, if not being the best player in the league. So which one is it? You need to stay consistent with your picks, Max. You got to stay consistent with your picks. And just because Kawhi Leonard won the championship this year, I would put an asterisk by it. I don't want to take anything away from him, but as far as competition for next year, he didn't necessarily see the full power of the Golden State Warriors. So you can't necessarily say that you can just drop Kawhi Leonard anywhere and he can take care of business by himself, because he took care of business, but he didn't see the full force of the Golden State Warriors. So to say that you can just drop him with the Clippers and he's going to win a championship there, that's not necessarily true, because he won, but he didn't see the full force of the Golden State Warriors, and he might not be able to do the same thing with another team that is just him, and he might not be able to fight the same type of fight with other teams out there. So I don't know. Let's keep going.
Two players, when you consider KD, even if he stays in Golden State, may be diminished because of the injury, it's very possible that the Lakers, if they matched up with Golden State even 2 years from now,